where news comes first. This is WECT News at 6, streaming live on WECT.com and on the WECT News app.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Frances Weller.
And I'm John Evans. New information continuing to come into our newsroom at this hour after a grand jury decided to indict former New Hanover County Sheriff's Lieutenant Joey LeBlanc on dozens of charges.
District Attorney Ben David holding a news conference right now about LeBlanc and two other grand jury decisions. Right now, let's take a listen to what District Attorney Ben David has to say.
This tape multiple times decide for themselves whether they believe force was reasonably necessary. I think you can see that reasonable minds can disagree, and therefore I wasn't going to say as a matter of law that it was reasonable. I was going to put that in the capable hands of 15 members of this community with all the facts and all the law before them. They have spoken, and I hope that this community respects that process because it's one that we fight to uphold every day down here at the courthouse.
If I missed it, I'm sorry, but was there any talk of any other additional charges for anyone else or any other names being mentioned in this LeBlanc case?
In the LeBlanc case, no. There are no additional charges contemplated in any of these cases. As I've said, however, and I'll make this one caveat, in these use of force cases in particular, there's concurrent jurisdiction that federal authorities can review. We will make this K9 case, for instance, involving Stafford Brister, fully available to the federal authorities if they want to see it. Again, we want to make sure that all this conduct that is captured in the form of SBI reports is shared with people who need to know, whether that's their bosses, sheriffs and chiefs who call for these investigations too, or the community in the appropriate case, or other prosecutorial authorities so that they can dispense justice under the laws that they have to enforce, because sometimes the laws are different from one system to the next.
And that, of course, was District Attorney Ben David reacting to a grand jury's decision to indict former New Hanover County Sheriff's Lieutenant Joey LeBlanc on dozens of charges. And
he also mentioned other police investigations are over and also having to do with that grand jury today.
Now, in both the final two cases, officers have been cleared of any wrongdoing. WECT's Ann McAdams joins us now with information on a K9 officer that was cleared after being accused of using too much force in an arrest. Ann?
John and Fran, Officer Stafford Brister could have faced criminal assault charges for releasing his dog on a suspect during an incident after that suspect fled a DWI checkpoint. But after reviewing the dash cam video of what happened, the grand jury decided that Officer Brister acted appropriately. This stems from an incident on Halloween night when authorities say Johnny Williams fled from a DWI checkpoint in downtown Wilmington. That prompted a chase that was caught on video by the Sable helicopter. When the chase ended, Officer Brister believed Williams was still a danger and released a police dog who attacked Williams' face and shoulder. That same grand jury that decided not to indict Officer Brister for assault did indict the suspect in that case today. Johnny Williams was just indicted for assault with a deadly weapon on a government official and felony fleeing to elude arrest. And other charges as well, but those were two of the highlights. We can tell you that about 5 minutes ago, the Wilmington Police Department released dash cam video of the incident where the police dog attacked. We are going to download that video and hope to have it for you on air on our sister station at 6:30 tonight on Fox Wilmington. We will definitely have it for you by 11 on WECT. That is the latest from the courthouse here. Ann McAdams, WECT News.
And thanks. A third decision from a grand jury today clearing two Wilmington police officers involved in a shooting in November, cleared of any wrongdoing. The officers responded to calls of a breaking and entering on Lamppost Circle, eventually found suspects in a car on Lullwater Drive. Investigators say the driver charged at the officers, who fired several shots, hitting one man in the leg. The three suspects face felony charges. Once again, we're continuing to get, as Ann said, more information. The video from at least one of these cases will have continuing coverage, full reports coming up on WECT.com and WECT News at 11.
In other news tonight, police in Wilmington have discovered a specific brand of heroin called Champ has been used in more than a dozen drug overdoses in the past few days. Wilmington officers and Brunswick County deputies have connected Kendrick Davis to the heroin. They arrested him last night. Officers took 150 bundles of heroin from Davis, each one labeled Champ. He is charged with selling heroin and delivering heroin near a child care facility. In Brunswick County, 3 people were arrested after a traffic stop on Highway 211 in Boiling Spring Lakes. Authorities say they were involved in a breaking and entering on Walnut Road last Wednesday. Now, Elizabeth Lewis is charged with breaking and entering and larceny. She is in the Brunswick County Detention Center. Nicholas Carter and Valerie Kitchens are each charged with possession of stolen property. Additional charges against the suspects are pending.
Earlier this year, DAC Americas closed its plant in Brunswick County, leaving 600 workers without jobs. Some of those people have to actually repay part of their retirement payment tonight. WECT's Justin Smith live with the story that is new tonight at 6. Justin?
John, when the DAC plant closed back in September, some retirees chose a lump sum payment. About 30 of those people got a letter last week saying they've got to send some of that money back. Joe Bellamy is one of those retirees. He had 2 stints at DAC, working about 20 years in all. Bellamy received a letter from Transamerica. That's the company that handles retirement benefits for DAC. Transamerica said it overpaid Bellamy to the tune of nearly $30,000. Now he's got 15 days to repay the money.
Well, it felt like somebody was stealing, after a contract has been assumed to have been taking place, and then they come back and says, well, we paid you too much.
Now, a spokesman for DAC told me Transamerica, the benefits company, is responsible for the error. He said the people affected will be able to reevaluate their retirement options, so they'll be able to switch from a lump sum payment to monthly checks if they want. Reporting live, Justin Smith, WECT News.
Justin, thanks. New Hanover County Commissioner Brian Berger's trial on last year's DWI charge is now continued into 2014. According to the DA's office, both sides agreed to the delay after Berger's recent arrest last week for DWI. Police say they found Berger slumped over the wheel of a car in the middle of an intersection. Now, Berger's trial on the 2012 DWI will happen January 29th. He'll face a drug possession charge later this month and will appear before a judge for Friday's DWI charge on February the 20th.
Much milder across southeastern North Carolina today versus yesterday, when at this time yesterday temperatures were mainly in the 30s and 40s. Now it's a mix of 50s and 60s. Step outside this evening, we'll feel the mild conditions you may not see very clearly ahead of you. You're driving. Some patches of locally dense fog continue to be an issue, especially from Lumberton, Elizabethtown, Kenansville, points north and west. Also a secondary area that's turned foggy, coastal Brunswick County. The National Weather Service just issuing a dense fog advisory for a good portion of tonight for coastal Brunswick County, accounting for a little sea fog bleeding onto the barrier islands and areas near the intracoastal. So if it's foggy where you are on your route, please do take it easy and employ the low beams and extra following distance. Otherwise, a pretty nice evening. Showers in large part staying away. Our rain chances low, and our temperatures, if you like mild air, they're staying high in the 50s and 60s through this evening. Lots of showers to our north and west along a cold front. That front's going to affect our forecast for tomorrow, and we'll talk all about that in the full segment coming up.
All right, thanks so much, Gannon. Later in the newscast, we'll tell you how to make sure your packages are protected this holiday season, what you need to watch out for, and best practices.
Everybody's scratching their head because no answers have really been given.
Citizens concerned for their own safety after an official is dismissed. Details on those concerns and where it's happening when we return on WECT News at 6.
You're watching WECT News at 6.
Citizens in Lake Waccamaw say they are concerned for their own safety tonight.
They say by dismissing the town's fire chief, council members have put residents there at risk. WECT's Gavin Johnson reporting those citizens believe town leaders are running the fire service. Gavin?
John and Fran, more than a dozen volunteer firefighters are threatening to quit and seek legal action against Lake Waccamaw Town Council members. And today we found out some citizens are backing them. Controversy in Lake Waccamaw remains around the fire department. Last month, council members terminated longtime volunteer fire chief Eddie Morgan and banned 2 firefighters, Shannon and Lynn Worrell, from town property after they sent a letter to county officials stating Morgan was still in charge. Attorneys for the town and firefighters have sent each other letters trying to come up with a resolution, but citizens like Kathy Jackson and Donald Council believe town officials are in the wrong.
It upsets me. It really upsets me.
It's sad they have really let 3 good people go.
They say Shannon Worrell is the only member of the rescue squad who's a respiratory therapist. Council tells us her brother has emphysema. He's had to call the rescue squad 6 times since July, and Shannon was always there to help.
It's comfort to know that you've got somebody that comes with their heart, not just volunteer, they come with their heart.
They tell us Lynn Worrell is an RN, and besides losing 2 firefighters with medical experience, they are concerned other firefighters will quit.
Absolutely. And if they don't have enough qualified personnel, I don't see how they can be state qualified. And we won't have a fire department or a rescue squad, and the nearest one is Buckhead. We're going to the town meeting tomorrow night and see, we want them reinstated.
And we want everybody else in Lake Waccamaw to go to the town meeting.
And that meeting is tomorrow night at 6. Reporting live in the studio, Gavin Johnson, WECT News.
Police in Whiteville say a school in the area has been broken into several times.
The most recent this weekend when 100 iPads were stolen. We'll tell you more when we come back.
Temperatures warmed up today, but I'm tracking yet another cold front. There's been a lot of swings in temperatures lately, and this front will spell another chill down for tomorrow. Details on that as part of the 7-day forecast after the break.
WECT thanks our sponsors of 91066 Gives Back. This is Chief Meteorologist Gannon Medwick with your first alert weather.
About the only hazard in the weather in the near term, the next several hours or so, is fog. So I want to start with that. It's locally reducing visibility to a half-mile or less, especially areas like Bladen County, north and east to Duplin, west to Robeson County, points north and west. Also, some sea fog drifting into coastal Brunswick County, allowing the visibility at Oak Island to drop over the course of the last hour. And once again, I mentioned this in first forecast, worth mentioning again, the National Weather Service hoisting a dense fog advisory for coastal Brunswick County through 3 a.m. tomorrow. Other spots getting some locally dense fog. The official advisory zone is coastal Brunswick County. So some patchy locally dense fog in the forecast this evening, as well as mild temperatures broke into the 50s, 60s, even a few spots catching the 70s earlier this afternoon. And we're still in the 50s and 60s for most areas, including a 56 at Elizabethtown. High into the 60s are you Wilmington, with a southwest breeze flow allowing for that temperature reversal today. We were chilly yesterday with north breezes, but the southwest flow really bringing us the milder air today. And for a portion of tomorrow, that's going to keep up. Southwest breezes in the forecast for tomorrow morning. And with that, balmy temperatures start today in the 50s and 60s. But a cold front will be exerting its influence on our weather tomorrow as well to bring us some scattered to numerous showers, lots of clouds as well. And when the front passes through tomorrow afternoon, southwest breezes go away, and we'll get into some chillier northwest breezes for tomorrow afternoon. So check out the 4 p.m. panel. Temperatures taking a dive tomorrow afternoon with that cooler flow back through the 40s. So it's been a month of pretty wild temperature swings, and that scheme's likely to continue for yet another day. Tomorrow we start high and then end pretty low as far as the temperatures go. Off to the north and west, the cold front produces some showers this evening from the Midlands of South Carolina around Columbia, north through about the I-85 corridor here in North Carolina from Charlotte, north and east through Greensboro and Durham up to the Virginia state line. That front and its attended showers will make progress toward us by tomorrow morning. It's just to our north and west, so we could be getting a few spotty showers tomorrow morning, as well as some patches of fog. But we're still going to be mild tomorrow morning, just ahead of this cold front. Temps mainly in the 60s tomorrow morning. But tomorrow afternoon, the front slips offshore, scattered to numerous showers with the frontal passage, and falling temperatures around 4, 5, 6 o'clock tomorrow afternoon into the evening. The numbers dropping back through the 40s. And then tomorrow night into Wednesday morning, the front makes farther progress off the coast, and we're into even chillier air to start our Wednesday. Into the 30s we go. So temperatures continue to be all over the place. There's the numbers over the next 3 days, starting on the higher side, but ending low. Let's expand the forecast out to the next 7 days. Staying pretty low will be temperatures for Friday. consistency for a change Wednesday through Friday on the cool temperature scheme. Into the weekend, a chance of some showers creeping back into the picture, especially in the case of Saturday with a rain chance about 50%. And then that rain chance down to about 30% for Sunday. We'll keep an eye on that, as well as tomorrow's showery forecast as well. John and Fran?
All right, we're continuing to follow breaking news after a grand jury in New Hanover County decides to indict a former sheriff's lieutenant.
WECT's Craig Reck has been following developments in the courtroom for hours. He's live now with more about the Joey LeBlanc case. Craig?
Yeah, John and Fran, we just got out of a press conference with District Attorney Ben David, and I asked him, you know, we've been at several of these press conferences and cases throughout all of 2013. I asked him, how do you change that going into 2014? He says officers need to realize that they have to own up to their integrity, whether it be an internal investigation through the District Attorney's office or in a case like today in front of a grand jury. Now, with Joseph LeBlanc, he is indicted for about 100 charges, those being fraud, forgery, embezzlement, just to name a few. Now, if you remember, Joseph LeBlanc is the former #2 for the Vice Narcotics Unit in the New Hanover County Sheriff's Office. Now, hearing from the Deputy Attorney General today during this indictment process, he said that LeBlanc was essentially shortchanging the evidence room for about 2 years, saying that he had access to it and everything just wasn't adding up. And then on top of that, he says LeBlanc was forging signatures of local judges for drug buys. He says he did it one time legitimately for a drug buy, and then after that, 28 more times to get prescription pills from local pharmacies. Now, there was a lot of talk tonight of addiction, of rehab, and even possible treatment for Joseph LeBlanc. But one thing we do know, that as this case moves forward, right now, Joseph LeBlanc is held in jail under a $500,000 bond. And of course, where he will be held right now, it's believed it'll be Wake County. They just know that being a former New Hanover County Sheriff's officer, that he will not be held in the jail right here in New Hanover County. For right now, reporting live in Wilmington, Craig Reck, WECT News.
All right, Craig, thanks. And of course, Craig will continue to get new details. Any of those we'll have online, and of course, full report on WECT News tonight at 11. Now, if you plan on trying to mail a gift for this Christmas season, here's some information you need to know.
We have information you need to know to protect your packages. WECT's Justin Smith caught up with a postal inspector and joins us now live with tips you can use. Justin?
Well, Fran, most of the things are pretty common sense, but with so much going on this time of year, they can be easy to overlook. Now, first of all, don't mail cash. Send a check or a money order instead. If you're mailing someone a gift card, keep the receipt. It can help investigators find the thief if the card is taken. And if you're sending something valuable, you might want to pay a little more for tracking or signature confirmation. But Postal Inspector Michael Carroll says the most important thing to keep in mind: don't leave anything in your mailbox or on your front porch overnight.
The opportunistic thief is not going to want to go out in the middle of the day to steal somebody's property. They're going to go overnight when they think they're not going to get seen.
So instead of leaving the mail out overnight, the postal inspector says to ask a trusted friend or a neighbor to pick up the package instead. And if you're going to be gone for several days, well, then ask the post office to hold your mail. Reporting live, Justin Smith, WECT News.
That is all good advice. Thanks so much, Justin. Now, according to police in Whiteville, Central Middle School has been burglarized several times since school in August. According to school officials, at least 100 iPads were stolen just this weekend. Police say the iPads were being stored in a part of the school that did not have an alarm system. They tell us they're following leads and believe one of the iPads was pawned at a store in Chadbourne just yesterday. They believe thieves are entering the building through a window. We are back in a moment.
Now, with the WECT mobile app, you'll never be without WECT News. From WECT.com to text and email alerts for breaking news and weather. WECT News. It's all right here in the palm of your hand. Sponsored by Bob King, serving the Carolinas' automotive needs for over 41 years.
Rain chances staying very low this evening, so I don't expect any showers to slow you down really as you head out, but some areas of locally dense fog could and should slow you down as you travel. Visibility in fog banks locally reduced to less than half a mile this evening. Temperatures are up though. They came up today and they're going to stay elevated tonight in the 50s and 60s. We'll start balmy tomorrow, but a cold front will pounce on us during the day. That will ring out some showers, scattered to numerous showers and falling temperatures after our front passes late tomorrow. The numbers falling back through the 50s, 40s, down to the 30s by early Wednesday morning. So the temperature coaster continues.
All right, that's it for us. We'll see you back here at 11.